professional with the microphone bank. All right, who wants to start? Well, we had the oral arguments on the motion to dismiss, as well as the motion to disqualify the prosecutors and the unlawful command influence. I think that everything went pretty well today. We were able to get most of the information out that we wanted to. We had hoped that we were going to get some more testimony, but NCIS did not want to participate, and they invoked privilege so that they wouldn't have to face any questions about their illegal actions.
Was the motion finished, or is there more continued on the next day?
Everything is now submitted, so the judge is considering everything, and he'll release a decision when he has one.
Where do we go next?
Well, as far as our team is concerned, we're focusing still on the trial, because until the judge actually issues a decision on this, we don't know what he's going to decide. We're very, very hopeful that he will dismiss the case, but we can't sit back and wait. So we're right now going back upstairs to continue working on preparing for the trial.
What's your general feeling of how things went in there?
I think it went very well. I think it went very well. I think that the judge certainly heard all of the arguments. I think he understood a lot of the things. I think that the government's responses on a lot of these issues were much weaker than I was expecting. Not that I necessarily expect them to have any good response, because the facts here are just so terrible for them.
You characterize the facts once?
Well, the facts are, at this point, it's pretty much undisputed that they installed web tracking beacons onto emails so that they can monitor defense attorneys' communications. They say that they were looking for leaks, but they didn't take any real investigative steps to look where the leaks actually came from, which, if you look at what was leaked, it wasn't the defense. We don't leak things that are partisan, pushing the prosecution's narrative. So they took what started out as a leak investigation, instead tried to weaponize it against us, and that's where we are.
The prosecutor said they didn't get any information out of this, and if they weren't looking for leaks, what were they looking for?
They were looking to track our communications, and the only reason they didn't get anything out of it is because we instantly identified it and we stopped them.
Who is it that found the actual trackers?
I did.
This guy.
I got lucky. I had a case a couple of months earlier that had this same exact issue. I had a client with a stalker, and the stalker would call him up and say, "Hey, I see that you just opened my email from Dubai or wherever," and he would say, "How's this guy following me? He knows exactly where I am at all times."
One of the more shocking allegations is that the government was using intel resources
Yes.
to, quote, spy on private citizens.
Exactly. Executive Order 12333 makes it illegal for the intelligence community to be used to surveil U.S. persons. Certain agencies like the FBI and like NCIS have a dual law enforcement and intelligence role, and it is absolutely illegal for them to use their intelligence assets for a law enforcement purpose, or in this case, not even a real law enforcement purpose. They used intelligence assets to target defense attorneys. I mean, that's something that no matter what happens in this building, I expect that there should be congressional investigations on this. I think that there should be indictments. I think that certain NCIS agents should be taken out in cuffs.
Hey, Tim, we heard yesterday from an NCIS investigator who was an intelligence specialist who said that she worked in law enforcement. It seems like this is par for the course with NCIS. Do you think there's a bigger problem here with the way Navy investigates crime?
I do. The answer that she gave to that question, I think, revealed a much larger issue within NCIS, where while other agencies like the FBI generally respect the boundaries, NCIS seems to have obliterated the boundaries, and they use their intelligence assets for law enforcement. And the fact that she didn't recognize the distinction between the two, I said it in there today, but it's true. This morning when I woke up, I got calls from retired intelligence officers who saw this on the news, saw your reporting, and called me up and said, "Is this possible?" Because all the intelligence communities is pounded into their head. Executive Order 12333, you do not surveil U.S. persons. If something like that comes up, you refer it to the FBI to do a criminal investigation, but you don't use these assets for that purpose. It was shocking that came out yesterday, and I think it's something that Congress needs to look into.
What are some of the possibilities, given your points that you made today, if the motions are dismissed and the trial goes ahead with the same prosecution team? And then if you could also talk about the other possibility, if there's a different prosecution team, what does that mean? Talk about delays.
Sure. If this case goes forward with the same prosecution team, I think that would be a travesty of justice. I don't imagine that the judge would allow Chris Chaplack to remain on this team. We have discussed, based on the information that we've gotten in this discovery about Chris Chaplack's personal involvement in this, that a criminal referral needs to be made to Maine Justice for him and these NCIS agents to be investigated by the FBI and arrested for criminal prosecution. I don't see any avenue where he can remain on this case. Just as he tried to make it seem like we were under investigation, well, guess what? He committed a crime. He should be under investigation.
Are you filing a complaint either through the military or with the New York Bar?
We are. I'm required to file a complaint with the New York State, with the grievance committee of the New York Supreme Court against him. I have to. So he's definitely facing disciplinary charges in the state of New York. My understanding is that the Defense Service Office has already filed for the disciplinary body within the Navy to look at his ethical conduct. And yes, we are going to make a criminal referral to look into Chris Chaplack.
If this goes forward, can you actually go to trial by June 10th after all that's happened here?
If this case is going to continue forward, we're going to be ready. The biggest issue that we have is that because of the government misconduct, this delay has made it difficult with some of the scheduling of our expert witnesses. So we're working that out logistically. But as far as am I ready to go to trial? Yes, we will be ready to go to trial. We just have to get all the witnesses lined up and go.
How many times did the judge repeat today that the government had violated the Sixth Amendment? Over and over and over again. He said it, that's why he released Eddie. He said that he's made that finding. He said he's made it finding over and over and over again. That's a big thing. The government violated the United States Constitution in this case. The judge has already found that.
Can there be a fair trial for Chief Gallagher if the prosecution remains the same without Chaplack and just Commander Chaplack's removal?
The problem that I was discussing in there is that the conduct of the investigators and the prosecutors throughout this whole case, from the beginning of the investigation until today, they have manufactured evidence to try and make him look guilty. They've suppressed evidence of his innocence. And at this point, it's impossible for him to get a fair trial. I talk with witnesses and try and ask them about their memory of this, which is now over 2 years ago. And I'm asking them details, and some of them actually say to him, I don't remember. I don't remember if that's something that I saw or if that's something that Special Agent Warpinski told me.
So with the new prosecution team, it's not possible?
You can't put this thing back together again at this point. Our position is that you can't put it back together, and no matter what happens at this point, even if they try to push this thing through, it's almost an automatic reversal on appeal.
Let me ask you a question. In a world where defense lawyers and journalists are being surveilled by intel assets, do you think we can get a fair trial? The answer is no.
Any insight onto when Judge Rue will rule on these motions?
I have no insight beyond what you have. He's got all the evidence now. He's a smart guy. I'm sure he's going to be working over the weekend on it. And we do have this trial date coming up, so I don't think he's going to delay things.
I'd like to ask Andrea how you're feeling reacting to this. I know yesterday you were so happy with the latest.
Well, I mean, obviously we're thrilled at the action that Judge Rue took yesterday. I mean, having my husband to be actually treated like a person that's innocent until proven guilty is a good change in direction. But I have to say, this is all startling. It's terrifying to me that this is occurring and that we are at this point in this trial where we have identified, and I mean, Mark Mukasey and Timothy Parlatore did an amazing job today to just punctuate the utter travesty of justice that's been taking place this entire time, from the start of the NCIS investigation all the way through to this day. So I just think there's a much bigger battle at play here. I really feel like there is a full-scale, obviously there's investigations that need to take place into what's happened in my husband's case, but there is a larger scale problem with the UCMJ, with the prosecutorial misconduct that we've seen, and just the shambles in which they've left his rights, his constitutional amendments, and our family. We're laying in the wake of all of this because of this complete incompetence and corruption that's taken place. So I just hope we can find justice one day.
Are y'all staying in town, or are you going back to Florida? What are your plans?
It's very up in the air.
Given all that you know up to now, do you believe that your husband can get a fair trial?
No. They've made sure of that. They've made sure that he will not get a fair trial. That wasn't the point of this. The whole point of this was never to find out the truth. It was never to investigate the truth. It wasn't to prosecute him under the truth. It was to craft a narrative and then fill in the gaps, turn people, use witnesses. All of it is complete implication of corruption from the top down. And that's what we've been saying as a family since the beginning. That hasn't changed. And now what people are finding out is that's true.
What do you guys tell your children about the trial as this continues to go on? There's so much in the media about your family. What do you tell them as this continues?
I mean, our children already know the truth, just like I know the truth, just like he knows the truth. So bad things happen to good people. And we don't hide the realities. We've lived in the special operations community. We've lost so many people. I have, Gold Star wives that have never been able to have their babies meet their husbands, that are now practically grown. I've had, friends that we've buried whose families suffer every day. We're just thankful that we have him. We never thought in a million years that he would sacrifice nearly 2 decades of his life to the war on terror. Our family would let him go on 8 combat deployments, and at the very last deployment, that now he'd be persecuted, not just prosecuted, but persecuted by his own government. And so it's a shocking reality that we live in, but we try to do our best to shield our children from it. He called the kids yesterday and just let them know the judge's ruling, and they all just burst into tears. It's a very emotional thing for us to have to go through this level of shame and this type of a travesty, but we're hopeful that, again, it'll all come out. We will be vindicated, his name will be cleared, and everything will be restored. That's what we're still hoping for.
Thank you.
Gallagher, can you comment on what it was like to spend your first night at home?
No, he can't.
Okay.
Ms. Gallagher, you were in court today. You were nodding a little bit. At times you were smiling. You seemed like confidence was building in you with what you were hearing today.
Yeah, I would say I'm just thrilled that we are supported by such an amazing legal defense that can go in there and just cut through all of the lies, all of the pretense, and get to the bottom of what's going on here. And the judge has really proven that he's very thoughtful about the considerations that are being put forward. So I'm thankful for that. I'm happy that this is coming to light, and I was in agreement today with a lot that was being said by our team, and just the tact and the laser focus that they had on the truth. And that's what you'd hope. You'd hope that the truth and the fairness of this system would play out. So we're hoping that continues to be possible.
All right.
Thank
And in keeping with that theme of being laser focused on what we need to do lying ahead, we now have to go upstairs and get to work. So thank you.